So if you think you're over, go ahead and say it. I'll be like 100 person. I imagine I'll be there for you. I like that.
Oh, Parker, you know what we should do? I should have showed you how to set it. Next meeting. That would have been productive. It's fine.
What's 40 extra?
My student association minutes in order. Roll call and approval of proxy. All our office.
Present.
Butcher.
Present.
Kent.
Present.
Flossie. Fernandez. Fink.
Here.
Hill.
Present.
Keel. Here. Mayor. Lewis.
Here.
Masters. Here. Moriarty. Here. Richards.
Here.
Shaw. Here. Senchen.
Present.
Seekman.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Stanek.
Alive.
Stolman.
Here.
Severson.
Here.
Vospat. Here. Wolf. Here. Wright. Jamalovich.
Here.
We have a form.
Alright, did everyone get a chance to look at the agenda? I did add a new point of discussion on here. That would be the South Coast State bills. But did everyone get a chance to look at the agenda before they all put on the version? It's pretty much essential. Any edits to it? Any friendly amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. Now, did everyone get a chance to look at the meeting minutes from last week? Any edits to those meeting minutes? You made. Alright. All those in favor of approving last week's minutes say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
There is actually a comment I'd like to make on that. We're looking at some edits given by Vice President Lee. Something came up about Senate salaries. That was a statement from Senator Lewis.
On the end of the bus.
That's what the meeting minutes said.
Okay, what?
It was something along the lines of what the approximate dollar amount for the return salaries was. If you remember off the top of your head.
It was in the neighborhood of $500.
Okay.
Like total for everyone together, it was not much. It's like $100 a person a year.
Okay. Just wanted to know that. Thank you.
Yeah, they got paid like that much.
Alright. So again, all those in favor of approving the meeting minutes say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Meeting minutes approved. Okay, I see our guest coming in with the robotic dog, so yeah, we'll give them a minute to get in. But yeah, so our first, our upcoming guest tonight is the Rock and Robotics Lab. Presenting will be 3 members, it looks like, the lab: John Miller, Trinity Linder. Yeah, so John, come in here. All right. All right, take it away, guys.
Okay, I'm John Miller, Trinity Lidner. We're all from the Rock and Robotics Lab in the Mechanical Engineering Department. We obviously do robotics work. This is just a little bit of what we do. what we're mainly interested in is kinematics and complex movement. Obviously, you can see there's a lot of that going on here. We have a robotic arm, we have a quadruped that obviously has a lot of complicated movement going on. And we also have an industrial robotic arm that we'll talk more about. But that's really what we're interested in, doing a lot of stuff with that. We have an industrial robotics class that we teach in that, or Dr. Laura Shell teaches. We don't teach that, but yeah, he's the TA, I guess he does too. I don't. So that's kind of brief overview. Yeah, you want to talk about the industrial?
Sure. So the industrial robot we have in the lab is kind of like the one we have on here. You want to actuate it a little bit. So then it's not just curled up. So the industrial robot in the lab is pretty much a big size of this. This guy's only what, 5 pounds. The other one in the lab's probably 500 to 1,000 pounds. So does almost the same thing that this guy here does. But what we use it for is we're teaching students to operate it, how to use it, ways to use it, and how to think while programming that robot. And then we also integrate PLCs with it, so programmable logic controllers, so that they get a good look at what industry looks like and what they would probably be doing, integrating both PLCs and industrial robots at the same time. So that's kind of more on the career side of what we do in the lab for at least teaching class-wise. A little bit on the research side, we're researching with this guy. We're looking at how he interacts with trailers, what he does when he's trying to pull a trailer or backing up with a trailer. So we got a team of students working on that, trying to get him a trailer built. John's over here working on trying to get camera sense or seeing things with the camera on the front of it that you can see. And then it's got a 3D, it's a field of depth, right?
Yeah, LiDAR. Oh, the camera?
Camera.
Yeah. Depth camera. So it uses a lot of the same functions as the LiDAR scanner. Basically shoots out infrared light that we can't see and creates a map based on how long those scans take to bounce back. So it knows distance based on time and speed. So it's really useful creating 3D maps where a lot of LiDARs are only 2Ds. And it's also a lot more detailed.
And then we got one more project that I'm working on for my thesis. Its name is Sphere Walker, and what it does is it takes a 4-bar mechanism like the ones you can see on the door, and it puts it around a sphere. That's a little hard to show without actually having a visual, but just take the 4-bar on the door, bend it around the center point, and you have a spherical 4-bar mechanism. Nice thing about 4 bars is they have singular degrees of freedom. So you can control it through any position that it can achieve just by rotating one axis. So what we do is we take the spherical 4-bar, we put a motor on it, and we put 3 of them in a line, and then we can achieve a walking motion. So what we're actually looking at is an experimental walking machine whose end mission goal is to be either on the moon, on Mars, transporting material to refinery sites for whatever building projects we have up there in the future. So that's kind of a broad overview of kind of what our robotics lab is doing. Any questions for us so far or at all?
Next 2 questions. How heavy is that? And the other question is how many people do you have part of this? I guess.
Part of the lab, tell them how heavy it was.
It's 25 pounds. That's how big it is. Yeah, and it can carry about the same. So, yeah. We haven't tried, but it says it can. Yeah, we have
10-inch.
10 in the lab?
10 in the lab plus or minus 1.
Right now?
Yeah. Because we got 2 freshmen, the car is 1. Caitlin couldn't make it tonight, so that's 2 freshmen. We have
We do have about 10.
Yeah. So we have 10 members in the lab.
Shows you how much I paid.
He likes to sit in his corner and look at his computer during the meeting, so I wouldn't blame him. Any more questions?
How many degrees of freedom does the arm have?
6. Right?
Yeah, I believe it has 6. You got the base,
so
which
there's the-
swings back and forth.
Yeah, here. Base, swings, and then we have this motion, and then there's this.
The upper arm. Come on, John, you should know this.
There's roll, and then bend, and then this.
See, you are learning something. Good job.
I have a question. So, as student researchers, I know that students are also involved in extracurriculars, so I mean, you guys apply this to any other extracurricular activities that you are involved in?
Oh, yeah, we're both on the Moon Rockers team, which is the lunar mining team. So obviously a lot of the mechanical side is very different. The robots aren't the same, but a lot of the software side is similar. So that's helped me a lot, at least, work with the robot on the Moon Rockers team. It's similar software, so it's really easy to get up and going.
And I do a lot of design work, at least in the lab, with at least Sphere Walker, so it's not necessarily the same parts, but the same skills to apply from going from one part to another, and what you learn on one project. You broke it. And going from one project to another helps you see why we do certain practices, why we keep files named certain ways, and just all the nuances that people don't think are important at the time, and down the road cause plenty of headaches. Makes you see why they're important. So.
Are there any like corporate or government affiliations you guys have for these projects?
So with Sphere Walker, we were actually sponsored by the South Dakota Space Consortium and NASA to work on it during the summer of 2023. And John, kid from Penn State who came out to help us with the project, and then Kyvan DeGraw, right? DeGrosse. Kyvan DeGrosse, who graduated now, all were able to publish a paper on what we did over that summer for the Sphere Walker project, which was implementing or putting control electronics, so Arduino, Raspberry Pi, encoders, the different design we did, because we had to redesign the platform so we could fit everything on there. Some of the control theory that we were looking at in order to make it move, since you don't have two independently driven sides, you have pairs of legs that are linearly together in order to try and make it turn, which is we thought was going to be the difficult part, and then we set it down on the ground and started rotating. And it turns out that actually getting it to walk straight is the difficult part, but we put all that in the paper, and then it got published in, you remember what it got published in? The Proceedings of the 2024
Romance Side, which I don't know what that stands for. But
we hosted the robotics conference here at Mines in 2022 that summer. Dr. Larishell is a member of that committee to get things published, and organizer of that conference, which was down in Florida this year. So, yes, we do have a little bit of government funding.
Other than that, though, that's about it. The robot is from a Chinese company, but we don't do anything with them. So all of the software and everything that we do is on our end, so it doesn't go back to them. There are modes that you can use that use API calls back to their servers, but we don't usually use any of those.
I was gonna ask, how do you guys keep, like, I know you guys said you're like approximately 10 members. How do you guys continue to like keep that 10 member mark? I haven't heard of you guys respectively before right now, so I'm wondering how you guys keep people interested in things, because I feel like this is a very interesting thing. So,
I want to make a clarification. They're actually a research lab.
Oh. Okay.
You still want us to answer the question? This is actually the biggest the lab's ever been at the moment, because one, everybody in the lab is a student first, a researcher second or third, because second could be they have their own lives too. So We like to get students in, whatever they're interested in, they can pursue, or if they like what we're doing in the lab, they're welcome to hop on board with that project. And that's how we kind of keep the research lab going. I know that's how a lot of research labs in the ME department work, is we have the ME lab open house where people come in, see what we're doing, be like, I either want to be with that or I'm going to go someplace else. So, but I've been on since I was a freshman. Makara is a freshman, so she'll be on since she was a freshman until she decides to either leave us or pursue something else. I don't know. Like I said, you're a student first, so if it gets in the way, then drop it. But I've enjoyed it. John, I know, has learned quite a bit about Ross on it.
We have a lot of different projects too, and we try to have weekly meetings, and if we don't, everyone's usually in there for a decent amount of time every week. We've got a lot of new projects just coming up all the time, new ideas, so it's easy for people to come in and get on something right away.
Almost immediately, me and Caitlin, the other freshman, started working on an elevator for the dog. So it was very quick, and it's interesting how quickly an idea turns to actually making it and building it really nice. It's very cool.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Can you do it work?
Yes.
Not with the arm on it.
Not with the arm on it.
Sorry.
Alright. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, thank you so much for coming in.
It's more rattly than normal.
Yeah, it really is. Just do the arm.
Are you sure the arm's on the right?
Alright. Alright, so I will bring up a point. The reason why we don't have our usual department presentation in today was because Dr. Marshall wasn't able to make it in today, so I thought it'd be cool to have his lab come in, as I do have personal contact with the lab, so John's but yeah. So with that, moving on to our unfinished business. And we'll start off with resolution 25S006.
We already saw this last week. So,
Senator Lewis.
Motion to approve this club.
Motion to approve this club by Senator Lewis. Senator Fink. Seconded by Senator Fink. It's a roll call vote.
Butcher. Camp. Boston. Fernandez. Fink. Hill.
Nay.
Keel. Lantern.
Abstain.
Lewis. Masters. Moriarty. Richards. Shaw. Ascension. Seekman. Smith. Scannon. Stolman. Severson. Boston. Wolf. Wright. Yermolovich. Motion passes.
Alright. Moving on to open discussion. So we have 2 points of open discussion. First of all is mechanical engineering department report. So we were able to go in and kind of have a good conversation with Dr. Laura Schell, who is the mechanical engineering department head, and we got some good, we just had a really good conversation. It lasted about an hour with them. The main thing that we kind of covered in that report, and Vice President Lee, if you feel you can add on. So the mechanical engineering department, I think, is pretty well known fact that it's the biggest department on campus. Both Vice President Lee and I belong to the mechanical engineering department, as well as a couple other senators in here. I know, you don't have to raise your hands, but I know that it does make up a big portion of our student body. We talked about a lot about labs. So something really interesting was there's a very wide variety of labs. Obviously, we saw one just now with the rocket and robotics lab. That's a really cool lab. That's something that I've seen a lot. But as well as they have fluids labs, they have solid mechanics labs. There's actually a lot of emphasis on computational computational research in the mechanical engineering department, as well as experimental research with, they have like the wind tunnel, again, bring back the robots. There's a professor in there that did like multi-physical property, is that what he said?
Yeah, multi-physics.
Yeah, multi-physics solid mechanics, so that's like applying a force on a solid object while also applying heat to it and seeing how that affects it. So that was really cool. And then going to student feedback, so Dr. LaRochelle we actually talked a lot about how they use student feedback in the department. So one thing that they brought up was the IDEA survey and how that's brought about a lot of changes in the mechanical engineering department, such as the DIN. If you go into the CivMech building, there's a computer lab and the more the mechanical side, I guess. There's not really a size in the building, but if you were to say the mechanical side of the building, there used to be a computer lab. They converted it into a big study space. That's where a lot of the freshman design and sophomore design classes actually meet. So it's like a really cool study space / classroom where like you can kind of do a lot of teaming exercises in there. Then there were some changes to the dynamic systems class. Before, students were saying the dynamic systems class was going too slow. I was in the dynamic systems class. It did feel pretty slow sometimes. But now students are saying it's going too fast. So they're finding their balance. But and then they also added a new lathe to the machine shop that mechanical engineering department has, as well as their and the reef was a big thing that they did before. It must have been before my time because I remember the reef kind of, well, no, it was like right in my freshman year. They added the reef, and that was due to student feedback. And then thermodynamics 2, which is a class all mechanical engineers have to take. The semester I took it, which was fall last year, we actually didn't do any hands-on projects. And then the semester after I took it, which would have been last spring, they actually added a hands-on project, which was the thermoacoustic engine. The first semester didn't go quite as well, but then Dr. Spaza has been improving on it. So that, and he said that Dr. LaRochelle brought up that was kind of a result of student feedback. STIDs, Dr. LaRochelle says that he does STIDs within the department. People are randomly picked for these STIDs, as Dr. Stone kind of elaborated into. And actually, as a mechanical engineering student, that did surprise me a little bit because I don't feel like I've been here for 4 years, and I've never been picked for an STID. I don't know if that's just because my department's so big or what, but I was very surprised to hear that they did STIDs in the mechanical engineering department. And then one thing Dr. LaRochelle wanted to emphasize that he's very open for just students, especially in the mechanical engineering department, just to go into his office and provide feedback on the department to them. Obviously keep it civil and respectful, but he said he's open to students from the mechanical engineering department to go in and talk to them. Now for the coursework, the biggest thing he emphasized on was working on our aerospace program. So he was talking about future plans to add first a master's, a PhD, and then after master's, undergraduate programs, a bachelor's degree. So so I think that I think it has the right idea going forward. I personally myself, and again, I know I'm reading this all back to me. I'm an aerospace minor right now, so I was very excited to see this. But yeah, so it was very interesting to see that they're bringing in these new aerospace programs. In addition to that, there's also new faculty that they're trying to hire. They're still trying to hire for the mechatronics course. So if you are kind of in tune with kind of the mechanical engineering department, last spring we lost our main mechatronics professor, Dr. McHugh, and since then they've been trying to fill in that position just so we can have a mechatronics course. Again, this semester they've actually had to substitute it for introduction to finite element analysis for a lot of the juniors in the mechanical engineering department, but they're currently looking for faculty to fill that position to teach mechatronics courses specifically, as well as they also are trying to hire more aerospace faculty in general, just to support the aerospace minor as well as support the new aerospace programs they plan on adding later. And then another thing, just Clyde and I Vice President Wheat and I came out of with the meeting was that there seemed to be some stuff just in the air about the freshman design course at the mechanical engineering department. We didn't feel like we could get a straight answer, kind of like which direction it was going. But yeah, that's everything I have. Is there anything you want to add? Yeah, so I'll open up to any questions. I'll go to Richard first.
Did you ask anything about the future of the ME shot vector program and what's going to happen to that since Lolly's left?
No, we didn't, go into that topic.
Because he was the one like security grant for that. It wasn't like through the school, it's kind of like just through his friend. So I think that's kind of gone now.
That is a very good point. I don't think that was brought up to us going into the meeting, so that'd be a good thing to bring up to Dr. Lauderdale, going into his office meeting and future occasions. Yes, Vice President.
Yes, Senator Richards, I think that's a great question. A lot of us are concerned about that as well. Do you think you'd be able to go into his office at some point and ask?
Yeah, I get a little more context on that.
Senator Vosta.
Did you get an update on the timeline of when the aerospace master's degree is going to be added?
Within the next, I think the graduate degree is sort of within the next 2 to 5 years.
And the bachelor's degree would be like 10 years down the line.
Senator Hill?
I wanted to second Senator Richards' question. I've had people bring that up to me as well.
Yes. That's a really big deal. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns from the mechanical engineering department? Senator Alarape.
We don't have to like go around the thing, like the room, but how many mechanical engineers actually have gotten an SGIB? If they say they're going on, has it happened to anyone?
Yes, can we just get a show of hands on that, actually?
If it isn't, I mean, like this process,
I would actually like to see a show of hands on who all has gotten an SGIB. Oh, okay. Understood. Yes. Yes. All right. So that's also good information. Any other comments, questions, concerns in the mechanical engineering department? Yes, Senator Stallman.
Did Dr. Lauderdale mention anything about the direction of the other specificities within the mechanical engineering department? I've been hearing a lot of kind of discontent with how aerospace focused the department's coming.
No, he didn't really. I felt like his main discussion of like direction for the department was focused mainly on aerospace, and I can understand that sentiment. And I'll go out there and admit my own bias as an aerospace student myself. But I it didn't seem like he was really focusing on. It seemed like that was his main focus during the meeting. So. Any other questions, comments, concerns in the mechanical engineering department? Seeing none, we'll move on to yes, Senator Leonard.
I'm prepared to report on the bills.
Yes. Yes, we are also prepared, but if you'd like to take the floor, please, I invite you to take the floor. Or you can just yes, you can say yes.
Okay, I'm going to start with the easy ones. Bill 1177, which is the one about having used a student's legal name, has been deferred to the 41st day. Questions, comments, concerns?
Senator Vosta.
It's my understanding that it was amended. I'm not sure why it was amended, but it was amended to remove the part about requiring people to get permission to use legal names, and just included the part where you couldn't get disciplined for not using someone's non-legal name, which is my understanding why it was deferred, because it was not encompassing enough for House Bill 1193 has been amended to prevent the school from requiring anybody to have housing or meal plan at all, and that passed through House Education Committee with an 8 to 7, so it's going to be seen by the House.
Senator Vosta.
How does residents like to about that?
Senator Lewis.
Residents like to make no comment at this time.
Any other comments, questions, concerns?
Senator Diekman.
The survey that we sent out prior to the SB 100 ballot did say that about 70 odd, I want to say it was 72% of students were in favor of us taking a stance on this bill. However, we knew that students favor affordability, and we knew that students were in favor of non-mandatory housing, so it kind of felt like those things were contradictory. So that was where we ended up on that in terms of the forum last week and everything.
Will Senator Leonard, the director of resolution.
Yeah, so we, students all across campus during the forum seem to be in favor for not being required to stay on campus or not requiring meal plans, but also the number one attractiveness of schools in South Dakota is their affordability. And the thought process is that by removing the required housing and required meal plans, both are going to go up as well as the housing in Rapid City, which is going to, on the long run, increase the cost of going to school.
Senator Leonard, would you just confirm when you guys sent that survey out, was that based upon after the first year?
Yes,
that was how it was presented.
That survey was not for or against, it was just would they want to take a stance, and then we got people's opinions on the forum.
Right. Any other comments, questions, concerns on 1193?
Now the big one. So Senate Bill 100 has been passed through Senate 33-2 with an amendment. I'm now going to go over what the amendment includes, and then I'll open the floor for comments and questions. The amendment has been adjusted to require an enhanced permit, a restricted enhanced permit, or a reciprocal permit. All of those require actual training to get. It also added an entire section allowing technical schools and institutions to limit the carrying or possession in buildings with flammable material, hazardous material, like canisters that are pressurized, nuclear material, places that have pollutant requirements. So like when in some of the chemistry labs they have like pollutant detectors. Federal security clearance, which I think is a big concern of the BOR because we have military labs that you're not allowed to have firearms in. Or in buildings during a special event where metal detectors and security personnel are present and provided. And so those are the changes, and I do not currently have a date for when that is going to be seen in the House.
Alright. Vice President Lee.
Do you know if that pressurized containers rule includes like tanks?
I didn't.
Like argon tanks?
Senator Leonard.
Yeah, so case-size cylinders containing corrosive, reactive, flammable, toxic, or oxidizer gases classified as Category 2 or higher by the Central Florida Hazard Identification System of the National Fire Protection Association.
Alright, Senator Saltzman.
That's your personal privilege.
Senator Boston.
For the record, what is the amended bill passed by the Senate?
33-2, and the two people were Democrats. I have their statements here if you would like to give it.
I'm going to let discussion on Any other comments, questions? Yes, Senator Schiefman.
While we're on this topic, I'm going to take a PR moment and say thank you to everybody who helped push the ballot, push our session. We had a really good turnout. I'm sure the fellow SA and GR chairs will echo this, but thank you guys for your help in getting that out and pushing it.
Senator Shannon.
So applicably, how many of the buildings on campus get affected by this ruling now? Because we're doing with hazardous material and pressurized like tanks. Like primarily, you can soon serve in the dorms are really where that's going to be located at.
Senator Leonard.
So yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to limit outside of buildings or labs entirely. But outside of those, if you're going to go into those buildings, you're just supposed to lock your weapon in a lockable case or vault. So basically, my understanding would be the classroom building, the EEP building, the math building, and the dorms and the civic center. I don't think would be covered under these protections, but my understanding is like CVEC and part of the mechanical buildings.
EEP would be covered with those labs.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to do the whole building or per lab at the same time.
We'll go Senator Boston.
So by the wording in this, it has, it says up in part 1, or while any building or structure owned or leased by the board of the institution. Skip down to the new section, says that they can only control it in a clearly designated portion of a building or structure only if any of the following are present. So it sounds like it has to be clearly designated that, those restricted things are in place.
And the
Senator Wise?
And the word portion makes me think it's going to be, at the lab door, don't walk through with your weapon.
Senator Field?
I just would like to make a comment. Something I've been curious about this, even when we were talking about it before, is how anybody plans to enforce a law like this. Are we going to have people going around, checking you out? I don't know. I think it's interesting how it could be enforced, or if it can be at all, or if it's like after the fact. Oh, you shot somebody in the physics lab. You weren't supposed to do that. You're supposed to do that outside. I don't know.
Senator Lewis.
I would imagine it would be enforced the way that we currently enforce any illegal item policy on campus, which is mainly an honor system until the campus security sees it differently. It may not be a satisfactory answer, but that's the answer of how it probably will be implemented until further laws are made.
Senator Rossi.
I think we should have campus safety at the physics lab, frisking people.
Any other productive comments on this? Seeing none? Alright. Alright, seeing none, I think that's all that we wanted to discuss. Yeah, I think we covered everything we wanted to cover, so that's perfect. Yeah, we'll move on to our Chief Financial Officer report.
Hello, everybody.
Oh yeah, wait, sorry. Discussion, I apologize. Seeing none, now CFO report.
Alright. Hello, everybody. I hope you all have had a good week. Not much to report. Finance Committee changed the meeting times from 6 p.m. on Tuesdays to 6 p.m. on Thursdays because that worked best with future time conflicts. And other future action items is meeting with GAPAC for training this Thursday and Friday, and working with Vice President Wee on the Senate budget for the next fiscal year. That is scheduled on 2 p.m. on this Friday. Otherwise, there's nothing else to report.
Alright, any comments, questions, concerns for CFO Lockwood? Seeing none, moving on to our Vice President report.
Yes, I was just going to mention the GAF allocation committee kickoff on Friday as well. That's going to kind of trigger our budget creation soon. So, like CFO Lockwood said, I'll be working closely with them, and you guys will be able to see that soon right here at this meeting. So, yeah, other than that, your report.
Any comments, questions, concerns for Vice President Wee? Seeing none, moving on to my report. So first of all, I started discussion for Faculty of Fire, I guess more intercollegiately with Black Hills State University. I got in contact with their Senate Vice President and President today, just explaining to them our idea, as well as getting in contact with a faculty member on how best to get in contact with their president. So I think the plan moving forward there is to find a suitable space to use for this event. Senator Seekman recommended using the ballroom, just on a Friday night, I believe, because that is when the Drama Club will be open to leasing it, I guess, if you will. And yeah, I think it would be a good turnout. Good turnout. We unfortunately were not able to go through with the plan of doing it after the basketball game because we've already played Black Hills State basketball in both our games this year, so it was very unfortunate. But I think we can still go ahead with the idea of at least doing it in the ballroom. I've also been thinking about talking to Stephanie Lindsley, right? That's the right person, right? Yeah. Stephanie Lindsley about reserving the still reserving the gym just for this event alone, though. But we'll have to see what the logistics look like on that. And realistically, I am planning on using the ballroom. Next item on the agenda, next item on my report is that I want to start changing kind of how we do department reports. I think that this interview style of going in, meeting with department heads when they can meet, is more beneficial because we can get more information out of it. It was very kind of last minute this week just because we weren't able to get as many mechanicals in, but Vice President Lee and I are both mechanical, so we were able to ask a lot of questions about the concerns that obviously not all the concerns, but a lot of the concerns I feel like the mechanical engineering students did have. This next week, I am planning on emailing the electrical engineering department head, Secretary Garcia. What's his name again? Dr. McGee, to bring in Vice President Wee and I, as well as electrical engineering CSC students and SEN students. So if you are an electrical engineering student, a computer science student, or a CSC student, please come up to me if you'd be interested in going to that meeting. We'd really like to have you there to ask questions about your department. Then another thing I want to have on my report is I think we're going to go ahead after this week and change the structure a little bit on how class reports work. We're going to have 2 classes. Instead of having all 4 classes report every week, we're going to have 2 classes report every week. And so next week we'll start with the freshman and junior classes, and the week after we'll continue with the sophomore and senior classes, and we'll just do this bi-weekly report style. And then last little thing on my report is I had the opportunity to interview for the news last night with Senate Bill 100. I presented our stance our stance of abstaining on abstaining on our stance for Senate Bill 100, and I think we were able to highlight the good political discourse that we conducted on this previous Friday night. So, other than that, in the report, any comments, questions, concerns? Senator Boston.
Is there a strategy for marketing the Wings on Fire?
I will be working with. Yes. So the last year we went through the Student Affairs Committee and the Public Relations Committee to organize and advertise that, and I believe that will be a similar plan this year. I also might work with the marketing department on getting that out there more, just because it would be an intercollegiate kind of event, ideally. So, yeah. Other than that, any other comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll move on. Oh, Senator Keel.
I was just curious, was it the TV station or the paper or what?
Yeah, so I was on KOTA, Coda News, I believe it's the ABC affiliate. Yes, so. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, we'll move on to our class and your reports, starting with our freshman. Let me pull up my email. Freshman center reports. If you know who you are, please take the floor.
Alright, so I don't know how this starts because it's my first report, but after interviewing people from various dorms, there are some complaints, mainly about the dorm from where I am. It's Palmerton. Stuff is like never fixed within like a month of it breaking. That was a big complaint. We never just the fact that the hydrologician did not walk upstairs to our floor to fix something also was pretty looked down upon. There are complaints about Surbeck food, the rationing and the quality declining after some time from starting investigation. And there are some complaints in Peterson about the not working washing machines.
Senator Lewis.
You said washing machines?
Yes.
In Peterson?
Yes.
I have an amazing update on that. There were 4 of them down when I left for my mini vacation last week, and I came back on Tuesday to see only 1 of them is down. And I got an update from our Service Works contractor who said that the one that is still down is only because it was so broken by students he couldn't fix it all in one session.
Alright, this is
So
also
it's
like
still students breaking them.
this
So-
is across
But
the
three others are all functional and operational again, so.
Okay. I do have a question. Could we encourage, or possibly add kind of a bullet point to like what the RA duty is, and just encourage the RAs to teach students how to use a washing machine?
Do you want to know how many times I've had to send that stupid email? I even have a picture where I can point at and say what an agitator is, and I have a link to a YouTube video. I've had to send it multiple times to Senators for the last 3 years.
Understood.
I do my job.
Understood. No. Senator Fainman.
As a fellow RA, the problem is not always that they don't know how to use the washing machine. The problem is that they think they know how to use it.
Exactly.
And they do not.
Senator Richards.
I think ultimately it's because you pay per load, like there's no incentive to spread it out. You double your costs by putting 2 washing machines. So.
Senator Lester.
Yeah, so the pay for load thing, Res Life is looking to move to doing including your laundry in your housing fee, so that it will no longer be paid per load to encourage proper use of the washing machine.
Senator Richards.
I also like to bring up, so I got a source from SBC who said they only pay $1.60 per load instead of $1.75. So I think rather than
Question first, when did we change to $1.75? Senator Mossad.
Will this discussion even be viable if the Senate bill passes or we don't have to live on campus anymore? It could be a thing where it's resolved by itself in a matter of 2 months.
Senator Alarape.
Putting that on the bill. I don't know. We gotta watch that price they put on that bill. I want to point that out. I feel like they could get us with that. But.
All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns for our freshman report? Seeing none, or yes, Senator Foster.
So I don't know if you guys have seen like the school Snapchat story. One person complains about Henderson and some unsanitary bathroom type stuff going on. So I just wanted to point that out if that's happening.
Senator Lewis.
No, I'm not going to describe this on Snapchat. There was a very productive conversation that was had between residents like the housing director and some facilities people over the last week that ended in us using a mechanical way to clear a drain instead of a chemical way to clear a drain. And since then, we have not experienced any blockages.
Senator Boucher.
Just to add to the report, just like putting the perspective on stuff. Peterson elevator was broken and fixed the very next day. Palmerton elevator was fixed during the winter break when it was broken the first week of school.
Senator Lewis.
So I have 2 comments I'd like to make. First of all, the reason the Palmerton elevator was down was due to like an electronics thing, that something with the company that makes the elevator or whatever, like it didn't exist anymore. It's like a custom order part. The Peterson one was renovated 2 years ago, so everything in it's brand new, so when it goes down, everything is like sitting on the shelf to be fixed. Secondly, if we're having like actual discussions about housing and residence life on a consistent basis, I'd be more than happy to ask the housing director and residence life director to come in here to actually do an overview on these things, like a department update, because I think it'd be more efficient than me having to bang my head against the table.
I'll move to limit discussion on residence life topics, and we'll be in contact with Bryce, right? Katie, all right, Katie Walsh. Yes, any other comments, questions, concerns for the freshman report? Seeing none, moving on to our sophomore report. Cinder Shock. Oh wait, no, yeah, you were next week. Sorry,
Hello. Okay. Same complaints as usual. Laundry, the icy sidewalks that seem to be taken care of, but I asked him about a week ago. And a lot of concerns about Sodexo and the food. And by that I mean like ready to ride at dawn concerns. Like they want to form a coup concerns about the food. So maybe, I don't know. We have a food department, but.
Senator Leonard, any comments?
Food Service Committee is currently working with Sodexo on some transparency issues. Maybe putting a summary in the weekly WhatsApp, because they do things like change the wall outlets and remove the waffle irons, and people get very concerned. And the eggs are being rationed, not because they're rationing eggs for fun, but because we You literally cannot get eggs at
Yeah.
anywhere close to a reasonable price. And so we're working with them on trying to be more transparent with the student body about those things.
Director Hadley?
So what I would say, obviously, use resource committee at every meeting. But if you are hearing particular things, like if we're seeing themes, let's combine themes, right? But if you're hearing specific things from students, obviously still work with the food service committee, and then they can also get that information. And then our larger piece, looking at the contract and the meetings that we're having as a university with Sodexo, then we can start addressing some of those specific things as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of like specific concerns. However, most of the complaints I've heard are they've been here for years. Why aren't they like doing okay already? Like we've given them so many chances to try and fix themselves, and there's just so much pent up frustration of they just keep messing up, and yeah, so it seems systemic.
Senator Kane.
Just another concern, because when I did my report, I also heard the same thing. Do we know why, so they have the napkin talk, but they also have that little board outside of like where you check in for feedback. Do we know why neither of those are being done anymore?
Add it to your list.
Yes, please.
Senator Leonard.
We did ask them to like make their feedback surveys more readily available. I didn't actually get an answer back on why that's not happening. We have a survey written up for like the student body on our behalf, which we'll be sharing the results with them. So if you would like specific questions added to that survey, you can come see me afterwards.
Senator Boston. Senator
Senator, yes, finally getting a couple quick updates that I did get this morning. So the La Bread machine that is downstairs, the company that runs it has just not been great. And it takes forever to get it fixed. So I don't know what the new machine is going to look like, but DH has one of them, and it went down once, and there was someone in within the next day to fix it, and it's been fine ever since. So they are trying that. One idea that I did give them, just since we're trying to get more usage of the Minor Shack, I asked for them to put actual kiosks outside of the Minor Shack. So if you're not ordering on your phone, you could go order on a kiosk. So they're looking into that. At this point, they're just trying to figure out how they're going to tie that to you being able to use Flex on the kiosk. So that is something that I did get an update this morning.
Could we have the food services director come and give a presentation?
Yes. Senator Leonard, if you be happy to have that happen. All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns for the sophomore report? Senator Rice.
For the record, students are always going to complain about food. Before Sodexo, we had to earmark, and students were still complaining. So this is just something that we're always going to have to deal with. If you guys haven't seen that trend already, same thing with parking.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? We'll go Senator Keel and then I'll let the discussion.
Doesn't mean we can't try.
All right, moving on. We'll go to our junior reports. Senator Leonard.
Yeah, a lot of the same things. This last round, I still got complaints. This last round of snow, I still got complaints about not salting and the sidewalks and roads. And then the other thing is people want more healthy options than the Minor Shack. They have Flex money, they're just not using it because it's just like chips and stuff. Also, they want
First of all, can you, are there any specific areas that are not being salted for sidewalks, you're saying?
I know like the dorms and up by the board. The residence hall. Residence halls weren't salted the last 2 days, like that entire path to and from Survey. Once you get into the main path, that route like it is, and then path across for the two specific ones that came up to me.
Okay.
And then people who are, community, just in general, the road stuff itself.
Okay. Senator Alaraca?
I knew that last Tuesday when we had class and they didn't solve, that was something that they did wrong. I'll be honest. I fell and I was like, damn. Like I almost like it ruined the whole day. Like, I almost did not go to my classes. Like so like in a real note, it's like if we're gonna have like school, if they're gonna like say that we gotta go to class and stuff. I mean, I feel like they can throw up some salt. I don't know their job, the things, but that's one thing that I pay for. So
yeah. So I will say that I think last Tuesday that was great. Right?
Yeah.
So we I think the day after career fair, or the day on career fair, I had a conversation with Geraldine Roberts, and she told me basically if there's any more complaints about areas getting undersalted, just call her. So that conversation I think did take place after that whole day, 2 days of like our campus was really icy. And that's really kind of what prompted it. So yes, that's why I asked for specific areas, just so I can kind of go back to her with those specific areas, so she's aware of those areas that are becoming raised. Senator Keel?
Two little things. First one, I did see a professor fall that day. It was kind of funny, but it's not good. It's not good. It was funny. The other thing, I think it would be useful if is there some kind of general plan of action, like when a city plows, they have a plan, okay, we plow these first if there's so much snow, and then we go onto these side streets if we can. Is there something like that the facilities has that follows that we could see, or does something needs to be drawn up?
I think we should have facilities in. So, no, when I was on the phone with Geraldine, it seemed like it was just kind of they got here in the morning and salted. That was like just one of the tasks. I don't know if there's like an actual plan of action or not. I know that also additionally Marcus from Mulbrook will tell them that like, hey, this area is unsafe, you need to salt this. That's the extent of the plan of action, I guess, that I got from facilities. Senator Austin.
Another point to add to this other school statement is that I was pulling into the football field, stadium parking lot, did a 360 in my truck, not on purpose, but that was nice. And then I gradually parked. So.
These all are great concerns. I'll get in contact with Geraldine Roberts again and see if she'd be willing to come in and present to us on facilities tasks. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, moving on to our senior report. Senator Wolf.
So the main complaints I heard were just about pricing and minor shack, especially for seniors who live off campus and they want to go in and get a snack and they don't have flex. So they go in and they see, prices that are a lot higher than they would see in a grocery store. So there's just some sticker shock on that. Some people mentioned specific items that they wanted that were going up. Like I think the core powers went up in price. So that was kind of just one general theme. That was the biggest complaint that I had. Also, a few people just in Rocker also complained about work orders. So that's kind of a general campus concern, I would say. I think a lot of kind of like the student athlete population is starting to feel a little beat down in the semester. Morale is a little low at the moment, so it's one of those moments for the community, but I think they're hanging in there.
So yeah, I would say the beverage piece inside the minor shack, full Coke and other things, they increased prices in January. So then that forced Vexo to raise prices obviously to make things, but there wasn't an increased price for both Coke and the milk in January. So they were aware of it and trying to look at some other things.
All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns for our senior report? Any other comments, questions, concerns for our senior report? Seeing none, we'll move on to our international reports. No report for the international report. Veteran report.
Suggestions from the veterans continue to be vulgar and numerous. However, on a better note, the Nemo Outhouse race is the 22nd. So that's what, Saturday after next. If there's anything the Senate wants me to take to the veterans, our meeting's going to be Tuesday, so I can coordinate more fully and have something next week for me to talk about it again.
So I'll just comment on this. I don't think I got around to signing up Senate for that, just because I didn't see a very, I didn't gather a very large interest in participating in that. However, I personally plan on still trying to make time to come up. Again, busy schedule, so that varies, but I do like supporting the chili cook-off there as well. So,
cool.
Any other comments, questions, concerns for the veteran report? Seeing none, moving on to our graduate report.
Hello, everyone. I got an email back from the Director of Business Services, Barb Mustard, who reached out to the Board of Regents and confirmed that meal plan options are not a Board of Regents decision. They are an internal School of Mines decision on what can be allocated. So, crazy, right? So, as of currently, we don't have any type of meal plan change requested to Sodexo, and there's currently no deadline that's been put in place that has been talked about. So she said she's going to get back to me in a couple weeks because she's going to bring it up with Sodexo leadership and actually reach out to corporate, because I don't believe our guy on campus can do anything about that. But she's going to give me an update when she does, and then we can actually plan a discussion about changing meal plan options. And that does not just mean for grad students, that can mean for like everyone and anyone. So we'll stay tuned.
It's good to hear.
I don't know. Oh, I have one other thing, not technically grad student related, but the wellness fair is tomorrow from 10 to 2 in the back ballroom. So I encourage you all to go by, because there's over $4,000 in prizes being given away, and there's actually some pretty neat ones too. So make an effort to stop in when you're getting food from Serve. End of report.
Senator Bosted.
Will the Senate bill that's being talked about right now affect the meal plan suggestions, or that's going to lie with the university?
Senator
It shouldn't affect anything that the contract has written, but the meal plan options could change if housing becomes optional for people based on our competitiveness in a free market. So that could change, but nothing will change with the contract due to the Senate bill per se, or House bill.
All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns, or graduate reports? Seeing none, moving on to our non-traditional subject report.
No report for this week.
No report. All right. Moving on to our committee reports, starting with Constitution Committee.
Yeah. I hope y'all had a good week. Thank you for passing the resolutions of SOL and ABSSDM. Yeah, we got nothing coming up, but we're going to be looking at our Constitution, looking for revisions and things like that. So stay tuned.
Any other question? Did you have any further contact with graduating science companies?
I'll reach out. Again, I'll reach out.
Right. Any other comments, questions, concerns for the Constitution Committee? Seeing none, moving on to Public Relations Committee.
Not a whole lot, just working on advertising and things. We got cooking up on Senate coming up. Nothing really. Any report?
Any comments, questions, concerns for our Public Relations Committee? Note, I will probably have you, Public Relations and Student Affairs, as I said earlier, we're probably going to start work on that, not being on fire pretty soon. Moving on to our Government Relations report.
Yeah, I'd just like to start off by saying thank you for everyone who helped make quorum on Friday, a possibility, and getting our position passed through the special session. We'll continue following 1193 and Senate Bill 100. GR committee is interested in maybe sending someone to here to watch it in the House, but that's a discussion with the keyboard. We'll be having the Senate bonding potluck desserts in Jeopardy on March 5th. And so by next week, I'll send out a sign up for the potluck, the desserts, so keep that in mind. And we tabled for the presidential election in the library on Tuesday. Thank you, Parker, for helping me with that. Yeah, I think that's all I have.
I just do want to make a comment. I really appreciate you and Senator Seaton and Senator Clausen building that civil discourse within the open forum. That was great. I felt very proud. Is the best way to put it. So, and I was really proud of my supervisor for having that civil and productive discourse. Any other comments, questions, or concerns for the Government Relations Committee? Seeing none, moving on to our Student Affairs Committee.
Not much of a report, just kind of reiterating what Senator Leonard said. Thank you guys for those of you that helped push the survey and the ballot, and thank you guys who actually voted in that stuff. It does matter, even if you are a senator, we appreciate all of you guys' votes and the report.
Other comments, questions, concerns for Student Affairs Committee? Seeing none, move on to our Campus and Ad Hoc Committees. Any reports? Yes, Senator Alarape.
Parking and Appeals Committee met. Justice was served in a personal way, I guess. If you ever want a ticket to, if you ever want to fill a ticket, you're better off to not write a nasty but come and talk to us, because that's a big part of it. We need to understand where you're coming from. But if you just go out there and just start going ballistic, it's hard for us to understand actually what's wrong. So, yeah.
Do you feel comfortable elaborating on how justice was
Oh yeah, perfect. No, it's just like there's, so, as I said, like I feel like in that committee it's hard because a lot of people when they only talk to you when there's a problem, obviously, and so a lot of people, I feel like this time we're mad. Rightfully so. There's things to be mad about, right? But as I said, like if we can't understand your point through the message you send us, we're just told, the information you give us, we can get information about what the officer saw at like the time of what that is. But like, if you just give us a nasty message and expect us to understand where you're coming from, we can't do that. So that's why I encourage you guys to post pictures, come in, talk to us, so that we actually can get a, not a, you guys, suck or whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that it's feel a little more sympathetic to a face than when we go through them. We don't get a name or anything, so you're literally just your ticket number, and that's it, and your words. And some of our students aren't really good at writing sentences either. So there's that.
You go to engineering school, not English school.
It shows.
All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns for parking appeals or any other ad hoc committees? Senator Leonard.
Yeah, just to reiterate kind of the stuff we talked about already. If you guys have any other complaints if you're around campus. Otherwise, if you might hear about this, I did mention it. They did ration the eggs to free eggs because they're having trouble getting them at a reasonable price, and there was some unacceptable backlash that the staff received, so they are now switching to liquid eggs to prevent any more incidents. Thanks.
All right. Senator Ballstead.
Can you elaborate on the backlash?
Director Hedrick.
So there were a few students this morning, but there was one student in particular that literally and disrespectfully yelled and screamed at one of their staff members this morning, which is a conduct issue in itself. They're just looking at some things like, we need to understand that the process piece of it, we want it, but students, we need to be respectful of that stuff too. So I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but I know it will go through that piece. But they're also trying to just work with other companies to get some stuff in. So when we get the product where it is, then they'll kind of switch back. But they're just trying to ration it because they can't get the product.
All right, Senator Leonard.
On a happier note, we will continue to ask for more orange.
Alright, any other comments, questions, concerns, or any other ad hoc reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to upcoming Senate business. Yeah, there is none. Just fill out the potluck form that Senior sends out, please. Announcements, Senior Lewis kind of already stole this from me. Tell us for tomorrow. Go. It's fun. And with that, I'll open the floor to Senator Lawson.
I was getting a motion to adjourn.
Yes, I will open for motions. Motion to adjourn by Senator Vasquez.
Yeah.
We're in there. Yeah, we are.
You should be rolling.
Yes, I just said
Is there
open
an
motion.
announcement? Does anyone have?
Does anyone have an announcement?
I'll second the motion.
Second motion seconded by Senator Lawson. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
Maddie, I need to talk to you.
Oh,